Hello, everybody. Very, very sorry for the delay. Rochelle White, very sorry for the delay. Favor Umana, seven minutes late. That's a long, long delay. Apologies. Very sorry. 7 minutes late. That's a long, long delay. Apologies. Very sorry. 7 minutes late. That's a long. Internet trying to mess up with us here today, so that's the problem. So, but thank God we are with you now. Nada позвоните, там что все уже нормально. Okay. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Adeleka Adeniyi, Adalove, Ngozi Oluipe, Funmi Adewusi, Muyiwa, Flora, Yetunde, Justin Mayo, Flora, Amonike. Thank you everyone for being here. We had a little challenge there with the internet, but better late than never. So we are ready to go now. Okay, please go ahead and share the link with your friends. Let's go share the link of this for this message, and we'll be ready to go. So go look for your share button. Let's invite our people, as many as we could get, and we'll be ready to go today. I heard that today is Vivian Taylor's birthday. I hope she's there. She's my old friend. One of the things she wrote me recently, oh, she's there. Hello, happy birthday. That is the birthday girl right there. How are you, Vivian Taylor? She's a pastor in Ohio. And I said, you are one of the oldest person that knows me here on this platform. But when you got to know me, she said she didn't even understand what I was trying to talk about that time. But it is now. She said, wow, what did I just miss? So happy birthday to you, Pastor Vivian. And we so much love you and appreciate you. And Lisa, I heard Lisa also had a birthday in a few days. In last few days, I just heard that today. So it means that you people have been, having the same birthday almost back to back. 2 birthdays at a roll. So your church has been in the party mood for like the whole week now, huh? So, well, we want to join you, even though we are here all over the world, but you are in the U.S., and we are joining you and wishing you a very, very happy birthday celebration. And we pray that God will help you people to be able to take the responsibility for this kingdom message to your country and to the continent of America. So congratulations to you. You people have a huge responsibility upon you, because you people are probably the only Americans on this platform. So you need to now, find a way of spreading the word and letting the word go around the nation, because all these things we are talking about, the same problems are in America. And actually, they came to Africa from America. So, so God is your strength. Congratulations to both Vivian and Lisa. We love you and we appreciate you for all your efforts to always be there and to always be present. Kudos. Happy birthday. Okay. You know what? My throat, my throat has been under heavy stress this week because I had several events and programs going on. So I'm going to try to have mercy on my throat. So we'll see how that goes. Well, yeah, so we are continuing to talk about why people reject the truth. Why do people reject the truth? Why do people reject truth? Why do people reject truth? So the topic of today is people reject truth because they might not like the source of that truth. And don't blame anybody if you hear about this particular point and you say, oh, wow, they reject me because they don't like the source. They don't like me. That's why they reject the truth that I'm bringing. Or even me right now, there are a lot of people who would not even consider listening to Pastor Sunday because they don't like the source. No matter how much truth Sunday or this pastor is bringing on this platform, I've been in Europe for 30 years, over 30 years, so I know that there are some white people who will never even come, who will never even give it a chance to come and listen. They will never even come and listen because if it's a black man that is talking, it doesn't matter what he's going to talk. He's not going to talk sense enough for them to listen until they try it. When they try, then they find out that, ooh, wow, we never heard these things before. But few people will even try. A lot of people would not even try. So, and that's why God likes to do. That's what God likes to do. God likes to put his glory in an earthen vessel. God likes to put his glory in an imperfect vessel. God likes to use the foolish things of this world to teach the wise. That is what God likes to do. God likes to use the weak to teach the strong. That's what God likes to do. Because God knows the prejudice of people, and God knows that people judge by outward look most of the time. God knows that people are biased. God knows the prejudices in people's mind and heart. So God will always act in such a way and from such an angle that we would not even expect him to act from. I remember I was talking with some people who came to see me and from Europe. These were white Europeans, and they were telling me, Pastor Sunday, we would not ever believe it that we could hear this kind of revelation because they've been listening to me. And they said, we can't just believe it that we are hearing this revelation from a black person, from an African. Okay, we could say we could hear it from a black person from America, but from an African, so much wisdom that this is strange. We can't believe it. What is happening? And then these people, there were two people who came. They came from Europe to see me, and they were saying, okay, let's even assume God is going to have this kind of revelation for the body of Christ, because they say we don't hear this kind of revelation from anybody. They said, okay, maybe from Europeans, but even European believers and European Christians don't even speak things like this. We don't even hear this revelation from them. Okay, let's take American Christians, white Christians. They are white Europeans, so they say, okay, if Europeans cannot get this revelation, maybe American Christians could get it. And they said, but we'll try to listen to as many as possible, but we couldn't even get this revelation from American white Christians. Maybe Latin Americans, maybe European, maybe Asians. They said, we tried everybody. In fact, one of them said, when he started listening to me, this is very funny. He was saying, wow, this guy has such wisdom, such a deep wisdom, but I'm embarrassed to be listening to him. How can I say that I'm going to be following a white person? A black person from Africa. Even though he's got some success in Europe, but that is Eastern Europe. But how can I be following him? Then he said, I think other people should have this kind of revelation. So I'm not going to follow Pastor Sunday. I'm going to look for other people who I could follow that, that are more easier for me to associate myself with and to present that this is the person I got it from. So this person said, I started following, I said, no, I will not follow Pastor Sunday. So I started following Hillsong pastor, the pastor of Hillsong Church. I said, okay, that looks a little bit similar. And that for me is more welcoming. So this European guy said, I would rather follow an Australian than an African. He said, I followed the Australian pastor for like 3 months, and I said, no, this is not close to what I'm hearing from Pastor Sunday. And I have to go back to listen to Pastor Sunday again. Then he said, and I said, okay, I'm going to listen to Pastor Sunday quiet, silently, so that I will not tell anybody where I'm getting the revelations from. So he said, I will just take the revelations and not tell them who is my source. So then later on, this person decided that, he said one day he saw on the television a guy from, what they call him, from Singapore, what they call that guy. The guy is preaching some form of grace like that. He's always talking about grace. Prince or something. They call him something Prince. Joseph Prince, yeah. Joseph Prince, yeah. Joseph Prince. There's a guy they call Joseph Prince. So he said, well, I'm not too impressed about following Asians too, but at least it's on television, it's popular. At least it's popular on television, so it's easier to present that as the person I'm learning from. So this person says, so I started listening to Joseph Prince, and I discovered that he has some interesting things to say, so I got interested in the grace message. Then I was comparing that with what Pastor Sunday is saying, and I said, this is not the complete gospel. It's not bad, it's okay, it helped. He said it helped a little bit, but it's nothing compared to what I've been listening to with Pastor Sunday. So this person said, so I couldn't listen to anybody again after I've listened to Pastor Sunday. I had to drop that Joseph Prince. I have to drop him and come back to Pastor Sunday. So he decided, okay, let me come and see if is it really true? Is it really real? How can he have all this kind of revelation? I mean, this is a surprise. This is too big a surprise. How can he have so much depth? So he came to the conclusion that some of the things that I'm saying, that if you really try and struggle, that you could hear maybe 10, 20% of it from different people. But he said what he had discovered is he's over 50 years old now. And he said, I don't have enough life to come and try to gather all the information from, I don't even know where to gather all these things from. Right? So I think I will just humble myself and submit myself to Pastor Sunday and see him as my teacher. I said, well, you know what? You don't have to submit to me. I mean, if it helps you, you don't even need to refer to me. You don't even need to mention my name to anybody. You don't even need to let anybody know you are getting this from Pastor Sunday. You don't even need to quote me. Say it is your own revelation. If you're able to back it up. If you're able to back it up and you're able to prove the revelation, yeah, get the credit. Get the credit for yourself and by yourself. Say it is you who went to the mountain and were with God for 20 years straight, along with God of solitude, and God revealed all these things to you. So, take the glory. Don't worry about it. Write books. I said, yeah. He said, yes, I've started writing books from your messages. I was looking at him and I said, it's not a bad idea, but I'm looking for writers to help me write my books. But he's writing it on his own name. But I hear a lot of people do that. They come and listen to my message and go and write their own books. I said, well, it's still better than nothing. At least, God takes the glory. So let him write his book for his own self. And of course, he's not going to quote me in that book. it's okay, you know. Jesus, Paul said, anybody that is preaching, as long as they are preaching to give God the glory, it's okay. There was a time that I was in New York. I was preaching in New York. And there was another white American guy that came to listen to me. He said he was so blown away. Now, that guy is a bestseller in New York bestseller. So after he became New York bestseller, then he decided to write me. He said he had written 9 books. He met me 9 years ago. I mean, 10, is it? Yeah, maybe 11 years ago. So after he had written 9 books from my messages was when he wrote me to let me know that he had written books from my messages. And he has become New York bestseller. And he didn't even quote me. He didn't even mention my name in any of the books. Amazing. But at least, thank God, you know, he remembered after 9 books and after a New York bestseller, he remembered where I got the revelation from. But he never came to Ukraine. But he wrote me a letter and said he wants to tell me that all those books are coming from my revelation when I came to New York City. He bought my CDs. Those days they used to sell these CDs and tapes. So he got my CDs. He said he was getting so much revelation that he started writing from those revelation books. And he didn't know that they're going to be so powerful, and they became bestsellers. So I told him, you know what? All these things come from God. And God said, freely you receive, freely you can give. But, you know, if I had been American, I would have sued you for plagiarism. But I'm not going to do that because, you know, we are kingdom people. And kingdom people are more concerned about the truth getting out. But, you know, what I'm saying, what is the point I'm trying to make? I'm just trying to make the point that some people will reject the truth because they don't like the source of that truth. They don't like the source. They don't like the person who is bringing the truth. And so when these kind of guys are telling me that they are writing books from my messages or they listen to my messages and they cannot identify with me, but at least they are listening, that is not bad at all, because there are some people who will not even put on the video. They will not even open the Facebook page because you are black, because this is a black person talking. And some of them have their own reasons, because some of them, actually, one of the people who came from Europe told me he actually wanted to submit to African before, but he had so many bad experiences from African preachers because he used to go to Africa. He's a pastor, so he used to go to Africa to bring African preachers to come and preach in his church, because he wanted to learn from them how to pray and how to walk in the miracle powers. He said, but they have come with so much doctrines and so horrible practices, shouting, making noise, and making miracles to happen by force, and that he has become so disappointed. But so he was totally shocked that from another African, God could be teaching him so much truth. And that this African is totally different from all African preachers he had made. And he thought all African preachers would qualify under the same kind of people, I mean, the same ones he had seen in Africa. So he was very, very surprised that this one is totally different, a total walk away from what he used to identify himself with. So what I'm saying is that, you know, some people will not like the source of truth. But, you know, so these guys who are at least listening in silence or in secret, or who don't want to identify you, or they don't want to mention your name, but at least they are listening. So that's good. That's what Paul said. So thank God that people are preaching the gospel, even if they are preaching it to hurt you or to discredit you, but at least they are preaching the gospel. As long as the gospel is being preached, hallelujah. Thank God for it. Just rejoice and celebrate. But what I'm saying basically is that a lot of people will not accept the truth and will reject the truth because they don't like the source of that truth. They don't like the source of the truth. I learned that in a big way myself. And I think all of us are like that. Let me give you, before I mention my own example, let me give you a few examples. Who wants to come to help me? You want to come? Okay. I'm going to use Mayowa here as my illustration today. So Mayowa, let's assume that, let's assume. Let me just ask you direct. How many times do you consider listening or reading books from Muslim authors, Buddhist authors, or Islamic authors to learn some truth or some wisdom? Have you ever considered doing that? No. No. Okay. Let's find out other people. Queen Anastasia, how many times did you hear that question?
Yes, I did.
Come this side. How many times have you considered studying some authors who are not Christians, like Muslims, Islamic, or Buddhist, or Hindus, to get some truth from them?
Never.
Never. It can never happen. It's like a taboo, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let me tell you something. What will you do if you find out that somebody that you have despised as a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu? What about if someone like that comes up with some truth? I'm even thinking, if you are like me, that you will question that truth. Maybe it's not even the truth after all. What will you say?
Yeah, possibly. The answer you gave that, yes, I'll question it, but I'll still have a look.
You will think that maybe it's not the truth.
Yes.
Because it's an Islamic guy.
Yes, and it's because I despise the person. Yes, I will.
Oh,
question.
Very good. Now you are talking.
Yeah,
what about you, Queen
I would
Anastasia?
have this blank screen and say, no.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, and the only reason is because that person is somebody that you, as a source, you cannot trust a source. And you cannot accept the source of this, where the person is coming. You cannot accept the source of the truth. Just because the man is a Muslim, or is Islamic, or is Buddhist, or is Hindus. You don't identify, you don't recognize the source, you don't like the source. So even if the person speaks the truth, or is carrying the truth, or is speaking the truth, most of us who are Christians, we will never even listen to find out, is he speaking the truth or not? Okay, now let me now ask you another question. Is it written in the Bible that God could speak through a stone? That if you keep quiet, that God will raise up stones and use stones. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yes.
So God can do that.
Yes.
He will speak through stones.
Yes.
Okay, let's leave stones alone. Have you ever heard of the story of Balaam and Barak and Balaam, the prophet, who was riding on a mule? Or what was he riding? Was it a mule? Or a donkey?
Donkey.
Okay, he was riding on a donkey, and then he refused to carry out the instruction of God. And then who did God use?
The donkey.
God used who to speak to the prophet himself?
The donkey.
So you are now telling me that God can speak through a donkey? Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
You know why you believe that? Because it's in the Bible.
Yes.
Okay, what about if the same truth has been written in the Quran, that God could speak through a donkey? What about if the same truth has been written in a Buddhist book, that God could speak through a donkey? You would have said, no, it's because it's Buddhist. It cannot be true. It's not God. It is their God that is not God. You see? Okay. Now another question for you. Are you now trying to tell me that God is capable of speaking through a donkey, through stones, but is not capable of speaking through Muslim? You see, we are so limited. We can't believe the way we are limited. We are so prejudiced. We are all prejudiced. We all have prejudices. We all have prejudices. Now, I don't say you should be going to read Muslim books or Quran or Buddhist book or Hinduist book. That's not what I'm saying. You don't need to do that because we have enough in the Bible, right? But what I'm saying is at least be open. At least open your mind that God could use anybody. At least open your mind to recognize and to know that God could use anybody. God could speak through any human being. God could talk through even a Muslim or a Buddhist or anybody. Because what this prejudice does is that if we associate truth only to sources and we divide truth only to different sources and only the sources that we accept or we love that we accept truth from, then we are going to be missing out on a lot of truth. We cannot limit God. We cannot put God in a box. And we cannot say, God, you only have the right to speak only through a Christian. Where is your telephone? Where is your iPhone or iPad or iPod? Your computer or anything? You have it? Yeah, bring it. Who is the owner? Who makes Mac? Whatever you have. What is the Mac? What? Mac. What is the name?
MacBook Pro.
Mac.
MacBook Pro.
Apple. Okay, bring it. Yeah, that's what I needed. Yeah. This is what do you call it?
MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro. Okay. So this is MacBook Pro for Queen Anastasia here. You know, it's from Apple.
Yes.
Okay. You know this thing you are holding? Is this a truth that this is a computer here? Is it a good computer? Okay. That's the truth. It's a fact. MacBook Pro is a good computer. Yes, no doubt. Good computer. One of the best in the world. Yeah?
Yes.
That is the truth.
Yes.
What about if I tell you that this truth you are holding in your hand is coming from a Buddhist? So when it comes to the truth of computer, why do you say this truth is from a Buddhist? Because Steve Jobs was a Buddhist. So this is a Buddhist. I cannot acknowledge his own truth. Not talking truth, but this is a product truth. This is a truth of a product. And it's coming from a Buddhist. But this one you accepted. This truth, this product, which is the truth, this is the reality, you are using it, and this truth is sleeping in your house every day. And I didn't know if you cast out some demons from this truth.
No.
You didn't remove the spirit of Buddhism.
No.
Religion, huh? What about if you get, so if now that you have gotten to know that it's a Buddhist that made it or that came up with it, why didn't you take it to the church, to the night prayer, to the deliverance session, so that the pastor will anoint it and do deliverance for it, so that the spirit of Buddhism will not come upon you? You don't do that, is it?
No.
Because truth cannot be monopolized by anybody. Truth cannot be monopolized just by Christians. Truth cannot be monopolized just by Muslims or anybody. Truth could come from any source. God could use anybody, no matter the religion, to bring the truth to us. Okay, what about if you find out Queen Anastasia and Queen Maiwa, that this clothes you are wearing, this your top, you are wearing, is made in Egypt. Because Egypt now makes a lot of clothes and they export to the world. Those are all Muslims. in pajama, or what do you call it, pajama or what? Huh? Hijab, in hijab. So these people are, maybe they are not terrorists, but they are Islamists. Even if it is written in your something there that is from Muslims, that the clothes, you like it. That's the truth. Because that's why you bought it and you are wearing it. But that truth is from an Islamist, our Islamist country. And you are wearing it. That is a truth that is coming from a source that you don't like. So why don't we be truthful to the end? If we are really truthful people, and you say you love the truth to that extent, why is it that your truth only stops in words or in ideology or in religion? Why is it that your truth that you believe that only Christians and only, a Christian you can listen to truth from? Why is it didn't affect the clothes you bought? Why is it that it didn't affect the computer you are using? Why is it that it's not affecting the house you are living? This house here is built by communists. Even though I have to pay them. Atheists, and the husband. And you are living in the hotel you stay in, atheists built it. Some of them are homosexuals who built your house. Some of the clothes you are wearing, they are made by homosexuals. There is a brand, they call, is it Versace? Huh? No, Versace. Versace, yeah? Versace. How many of you like the products of Versace? You don't? Everybody likes them. I do. They are good quality. But it's homosexual.
Dolce & Gabbana as well.
Huh?
Dolce & Gabbana.
Dolce & Gabbana also. So there's what do you call them? Gay and atheists. But you are wearing their clothes. So when we say we don't like the source of truth, we are only talking religion. Religion has messed up our minds. But you are not true. You are not sincere. Because it is hypocrisy. Because if it is not hypocrisy, you would have been rejecting their clothes too. You know, most of the clothes that we are wearing and most of the computer that we are using, most of everything we are using this way is from China. And do you know who the Chinese are? They are communists and atheists and Buddhists. Many of them are Buddhists, communists, and atheists. If you really want to say you are a Christian to the end, and that you can only accept the truth that is coming from Christian source, so go and remove everything Chinese from your house and bring them to me. May I will receive them. I have people to give them to. Go and remove everything Chinese, because the Chinese are communists, the Chinese are Buddhists, and the Chinese are they are atheists. So go and remove everything Chinese from your home, because they don't believe in your ideology. And let's leave the Chinese alone. You know, some of the things you are using, they are coming from Japan. And the Japan, they are the Confucianists. Or Confucians, they call their religion. So those Confucians, you know, when they get to the work, they don't just make the product physically. In most of the Japanese companies, you have to stop in the morning and pray and call the spirit and pray like 30 minutes, 40 minutes on their company and on the products. Before all the cars you are seeing from Japan and all the clothes and everything you are seeing from Japan, there are some, in the morning they do rituals, they call the spirits and they have God. If you go to China, they have gods. In all the companies that they have idols and gods. Yes, they have their statues of God. In Japan, in Thailand, Taiwan, Korea, and China, they have gods, all kind of gods in the company where they produce the thing you are wearing. Have you ever been to a Chinese restaurant? I'm sure you must have seen some gods there, and you went there and ate on your own and came back without any problem. So why is it that their restaurant with their God is good enough for you, and you didn't become demon possessed, and nothing happened? You went there, you are not so religious that time when you are eating in that restaurant. Even though there is a God there is an idol there, you didn't work out. Or all the things that you are buying, you like Japanese product. How many of you like Japanese product? You don't like Japanese product? I like it. You don't, girls? If I give you Japanese car now, you will not take it.
I'll take it.
Well, you are not casting out the demons from Japan.
I didn't even think about the demons.
You didn't even think. You see how religious we could all be, eh? How religious we could all be. Because it is not true that truth can only come from one source that you like. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of things. We are just being hypocrites. So all those people who are saying they want to cast out demons, why are they not? Why is it that only African demons they want to cast out? Why is it that they are not casting out Japanese demons and Chinese demons, or Korean demons or Taiwanese demons? Because they don't understand. Demons and evil spirits only work for people who understand it. But the Christians who are in Japan and who are in China, they are running away from those spirits and from those demons. They are not buying the things. Why? Because they know that it's dangerous. They are afraid of it. But the ones who don't know about it, all of us, we don't care. We just use it. The same thing in Africa. All those demons and the wishes of Africa, they only affect Africans. The witches and wizards and all the demons of Africa, they don't affect Shebanizo. They don't affect white people at all. They don't affect anybody because they don't have the fear of the African demons. Japanese don't fear African demons. You know, Europeans don't fear African demons, so they don't affect them. It is the fear that you have towards witches and wizards that cripples you. So you don't fear the demons from Taiwan. You don't fear the demons from Japan. You don't fear the demons and the witches and wizards from China or from Thailand. You don't fear any one of that because you don't fear it. You go to their restaurant, even eat there, nothing happens. You even ride in their car and that nothing happens, because if you don't have faith in their demons and in their idols, it doesn't harm you. It's just a decoration. So the same thing, that's the same way white people see our own idols, as it's just decorations. I just laugh and take it as a souvenir back home. So, but why don't you use the same logic and refuse to fear demons in Africa? And refuse to fear demons and principalities and witches and wizards from where you come from. Just refuse to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, it will never harm you. If you never have the fear for it, if you don't have the fear for it, it will never affect you. But because you have the fear for it, because you have belief in it, and because you think they could harm you, that is why you are afraid. And that belief that they could harm you, it is what is empowering them to be able to harm you. But when you don't have the faith in their source, when you don't have faith in them, you are over and above them. So, but the basic thing I'm saying today is that we all behave like that. When we don't believe in the source of truth, we are biased against the truth. What does that mean? When we are biased against the truth just because it's coming from a source we don't like, that means that truth is not supreme in our mind, in our heart. That truth is not paramount. It means that truth is not absolute for us. And that we don't agree that truth must be universal. Okay. Do you know that some of you know that there are Christians today who say anything that is not written in the Bible is not the truth? Have you ever heard that kind of thing before?
Yes.
Okay. You know it's a lie. A lot of things that are not in the Bible that are the truth. You know the Bible never mentioned gravity. And you say it's not true now. Make it go jump. Since it's not in the Bible, why don't you just take it and declare war and just say, I revolt. I don't believe in gravity. Because I don't believe in gravity, I'm going to jump from 20th floor. Because it's not in the Bible. Congratulations. I will come for the burial service. Oh, but you are not going to be there. You are not going to be the one to invite me for your funeral. But I will come there and tell the story. of what happened. So when you hear people say the truth is only in the Bible and anything that is not in the Bible is not the truth, just say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Let him go. Make you don't argue with him. Don't argue with them. You know, the word oxygen is not in the Bible. So you say you don't believe in oxygen and revolt. What about the word brain? It's like you say you don't believe in brain because brain is not in the Bible. Make you not believe now. Go and remove it and say it's not necessary. You are not the one to tell the story. So a lot of religious conditioning, a lot of religious conditioning that we have that is absolutely crazy. And then when you discover that the person who discovered the brain is an atheist or doesn't believe in God, and you say you cannot believe anything that is from atheist, but the person discovered that you have brain, or the person, somebody believes that you know, you don't believe in gravity, or like Einstein, he perfected the theory of gravity of Isaac Newton, and you say, well, I don't believe in it because it's an atheist. Okay, but you don't believe now. You don't have to believe, but you have to acknowledge the reality because those people discovered what God created. So a lot of things that God has created that anybody could discover. Either he's a Christian or he's not a Muslim. In fact, some of the medicine that you are taking, some of the tablets and the pharmaceutical things that you are taking, they are made by atheists or communists or Buddhists. In fact, a lot of medicine now are coming from India. And they are Hindus, most of them. So you are taking Hindu medicine. But since it's helping you, is the truth? Why not? You cannot say because it's coming from Hindu something you will die, you will rather die. Make you die. In fact, I know people who are Nigerians, who are coming from Nigeria, my country, who are praying, prayer warriors. But when they are sick, you know who they go to? They don't go to Christian doctors, they go to India. And you know the kind of doctors who are in India, they're Hindus. And those doctors and the hospitals where they go to in India, there are some demons, you know, idols and little gods everywhere in the hospital. And you know what? All the Nigerian pastors even go there and die there or get operation there. They are not doing deliverance, so they are the ones who have been delivered. What I'm trying to say is that we all have biases. We all have biases against sources. There are some sources that we don't like. And that is troubling when I hear people demonize Muslims. But it's not fair, it's not true, because we are using a lot of things from Muslims. I know that it's not fair and it's not truth. It's not according to truth when I hear Christians demonize gays. Because a lot of things that we're enjoying today in our world are made by gays. It's not fair and it's not nice when we are demonizing atheists. A lot of the things that we own today and we are using today, they were created, they were given to us, or they were made available to us by atheists. So that's why God must be God. God is God in every way. But when people now apply the same principle against us, we think it's not fair. For example, I was talking to you today and I said, a lot of people will not even listen to me because I'm a black man. A lot of people will not even put on the video because there's a black person. What will they say? And you people are thinking it's not fair. But you don't know you are just the same thing. You do just the same thing. How many of you, when you see a Muslim talking and you say, maybe let me just put it on and say, even me, I don't put it on to here. But at least I'm open that God could talk through a Muslim or a Buddhist or anybody to me. And God could teach me through any one of them too. So we all have biases. We all have prejudices, and we don't recognize it. You know, there are people who will never listen to you. Dr. Queen Anastasia, just because you are a woman. That sounds like crazy, right? That how would they not listen just because she's a woman? There are some men who will never put on your video. Not because you are not speaking the truth, though. But because the source that is speaking that truth, then is not trusted by them. And the reason the source is not trusted is because the source is a woman. Somebody is saying here, Esther Kuganja, my dentist is Indian. So when I'm in this office, I submit to the truth. In his office, I submit to the truth he knows about teeth. Beautiful. Beautiful example. Wonderful. So a lot of truth we reject. Many of us have rejected very good ideas, very good truth, just because we doubt the source. You know, the same thing happens in your relatives and in your families. Now, I want all of you who are listening to me now to remember your cousins and your uncles and your aunts and your relative and your grandfather, your grandparents that have tried to tell you some things. But because they are not born again and they don't go to your church, you have rejected them, close up your mind against them, maybe even despise them, because they are not Christians. How can they know? What can they tell you? Do you know there are some of you who are listening to me today who will not even listen to your children because they are younger than you, or receive truth from your junior ones just because you are older than them? When we begin to elevate the source of truth above the truth itself, we err. We commit error. The truth must not and never be inferior to the source. It is rather the source that is secondary, and the truth itself is primary. So we should always look for the truth. If this person is speaking the truth, I would rather agree with him than disagree. If this person is saying is the truth, if it makes sense, if it is provable, if it is established, if it is confirmed as the truth, I am more interested in the truth than the person who is saying it or the source from which it's coming. So we should rather elevate the truth, make the truth superior, and make the truth absolute and paramount, rather than focusing on the source that brought the truth to us. Because, you know, there are some people who are against my teaching because they said, Pastor Sunday doesn't just talk from the Bible, he's using the wisdom from everything, from science, from philosophy, from, you know, anywhere, from all the world. Yes, because God is the source of all knowledge. God is the source of all wisdom. So I get all the wisdom of God from everywhere, and I use it on the basis of the Bible. I refine it on the basis of the Bible, and I use the Bible to sieve it. And I see that it's in line with the Bible, and I go for it. I fire out. When the truth is superior for you, you are only concerned if it is the truth. Once it is the truth, the source, yes, the source is also important, but the source is secondary. Look at what this person said. Marie answer says, wow, even pastors from different churches we don't listen to, are not being listened to because will say they are not from my church. Can you believe it? So if I'm speaking the truth now, and this word is important and it's going to set you, so you are not going to listen because I'm not from your church. And I know there are some people who do that. In fact, there are some churches who say you can never read a book from another church, another author, if it's not from your pastor. So I said, okay, I agree. You respect your pastor, good. So let's say now you want to become an engineer. And your pastor has not written book about engineering because your pastor don't write book about engineering. And you are saying, okay, I'm in university studying engineering, but because I don't read books who are not from my pastor, how will you pass the engineering test? You tell me. You read Bible and pass the engineering test? Or you want to become a medical doctor, okay? And they have told you in your church that you don't read any other book that is not for people who are not from your church. So all your professors must be from your church. And all of them must write books. So if you go to medical school, and then what will you say? You say, okay, I refuse to give exam or read book. You not read book and you came here to read medicine? Yes, I will not read book. What happened? Well, I don't read book from people who are not my pastor or from my church. So will you pass that medical school?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. See, this is how biased we all are. We are very biased. And we don't even know we are biased. And then we are not truthful too. We are hypocritical. So when it comes to school, medical school, you go and study the books of atheists just for you to pass. You go and study the book of Muslims just for you to pass. When it comes to dentists, you go to an Indian doctor, Muslim doctor, just for you to be able to be fixed. But when it comes to church, no. You are not consistent. Then you go to gay, you go and read gay book to pass medicine or engineering. Gay teacher, you go and listen to him and give exams before him. And then you are saying you don't like gay, they are sinners. So why are you going to listen and obey and give exams under him? You see, that's why truth must be elevated above whoever is through whose source that particular truth is coming across to you. We must just make sure that we focus on the truth. Truth is more important than the source. The fact that you receive the truth doesn't mean you must receive the source, but you have to receive the truth. Okay, so now, why is it that a lot of people will not accept the truth? Because of this bias that I'm dealing with. There are a lot of truth right now that you could have discovered that you are suffering. There are some things that you are suffering from right now. And you would have gotten help if you had not been close to some source of truth. Do you know, in my own personal experience, there is a particular pastor from Ghana. I know that he's in error in a lot of issues, in a lot of ways. So because I know that this guy is in error and is making a lot of mistakes, I just said, no, I will not touch his books at all. Then one day, one of his disciples brought his book to me. I said, no, I cannot help him. Then you know what happened? 10 years later, I heard somewhere that the guy was talking about me. The guy has been reading my books or maybe hearing my messages or I don't know what he has been doing. So he was talking about me so well, so nice. So I said, oh, if this guy is talking about me so well, let me check on one of his books. Then, do you remember, can you believe it? You know, not the areas where he's in error, but, even somebody who is in error, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that he will never be able to speak what is right sometimes. Or there are some things that, God could use anybody. Like we said, God could use donkeys, God could use stones. Even somebody who is in error, you don't normally, it's not good to just condemn the person. You could condemn the error, but that doesn't mean you should condemn the source. Because that same source could still bring truth out. God could still use that same person who made a mistake in one subject. In another subject, God could speak the truth through him. Somebody who is making a mistake, who is a sinner, you cannot say, I cannot receive anything from a sinner. But somebody who is a sinner sometimes could be used to speak the right thing, to speak the truth. So this person, when I read the book, at that particular time, I was having some challenges. And I got the wisdom necessary for me to resolve the problem I was having through that book of the man that I know is in error. That became a big lesson for me. That by condemning the error, it still doesn't mean that I agree with the error. I still don't agree with the error. I still condemn the error. But that doesn't mean I should condemn the human being, the source. Because you don't know what God is doing with people. You don't know the changes that are happening in people's lives. And you don't know the transformation or the growth that people are experiencing. And how they will change, or they might change or bring it. Or maybe they are in error in one thing, but in other things, they might be right in other things. But when you just say you are biased against any other source, and you only recognize your pastor or your man of God, and only your man of God you'll be listening to, you will be limited in life. There is no way all wisdom in this world will come from one man of God. Man of God could have a lot of wisdom, but be open to receive from other sources as well. God could speak through other people too. But when you are already biased against every other source, then you are the loser. You are losing. Now, like I said, I don't mean you should go and be looking for Buddhists and say you are going to study everything. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying be open. If God wants to speak through a Muslim to you, let him do it. If God wants to speak through a Buddhist to you, let him do it. Allow God to work. Allow God to do it. Don't be biased against the source of truth. Like, for example, some of the people I listen best to right now are my disciples. I told you one of my favorite writers now is Dr. Success. And I've got a lot of inspiration listening to Ogene Tega, Sunday Akibowale, Victor, Anu, Anastasia, Kwinkiro, Obi, all these people that are my disciples, I am learning from them. So you cannot just say, because you are senior to somebody, or somebody is your, is your junior, or somebody is somebody you think that you know better than, that God cannot speak through them. You shouldn't ever condemn the source. Any source. Any source could be a blessing to you. God could use any source to enlighten you and to even bring answers to your life. But when you are already biased, when you are already having prejudice against the source of truth, well, you will never be able to even recognize the truth. You'll never be able to recognize. Is it Malcolm X? I think it's, can you check it? I think it's Malcolm X who says, what did he say? That I support the truth, or I'm on the side of truth, no matter who says it. And I'm on the side of truth, no matter where it comes from. Something like that, very similar. Because that is very correct. That's a very correct. Can you look for a quotation like that? I am on the side of truth, no matter who says it. Look for the quotation. You will still find the author. Okay. I'm on the side of truth, no matter who says it. So it doesn't matter who says the truth. Once is the truth, we must be committed to be on the side of that truth. We must be on the side of truth no matter. So truth must be elevated far above our prejudices. Pastor Nkiru is saying, DSA, that's what makes you truly rich and wealthy all around. You are just exceptional. Well, I'm telling you the secret now. Learn from everybody. Learn from as many people as you can. You will be the better for it. By the way, if you have not yet shared the link, please go ahead and share the link. Go ahead and share the link to this message. Let's keep on sharing the link. So, is there anybody in the audience who found out the quotation? Because we cannot find internet here to find out the quotation who said that. So don't let anybody put you in the box. Like in my country, sometimes people will tell you, don't listen to anybody who is not from your church, or don't listen to another pastor, or don't read another person's book. That is captivity. That's putting you in prison. Don't let anybody shut you away from the source of truth. Don't let anybody silence you in regards to truth. You know, in my books sometimes, oh, okay, Fisa, you has helped me find it. I am for truth no matter who tells it. I am for justice no matter who it is for or against. I am a human being, first and foremost. And as such, I am for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. You see, it's Malcolm X, so I'm right. So I am for truth no matter who tells it. I'm for justice no matter who it is for or against. Malcolm X. Do you know who Malcolm X is? You know he's a Muslim. Yeah. But if it's a Muslim, how come you accept this truth? Or you disagree?
I agree.
You agree? But it's a Muslim now. So in my book, sometimes people tell me, what is Pastor Sunday doing? How can you quote a Muslim?
Yes, in Nigeria,
in Nigeria they say that.
leadership questions and the court.
Yeah. How can they use Buddhist example or or Hindu's quotation or Muslim person? How can they quote a Muslim? You know, Pastor Sunday, what are you doing? Because Paul himself quoted unbelievers in the Bible. Paul was quoting unbelievers. Even Bible, even God himself is quoting unbelievers in the Bible. So if God could quote unbelievers, you know, why should you be so dogmatic? Are you more dogmatic than God? Even the Bible is quoting Satan. If you read the Bible, you will find Satan inside. Satan is being quoted there. So even if Satan is being quoted, he's worse than Muslims and Buddhists. So religion is a dangerous thing. Unfortunately, I've not even started this message, you know. This is just first the introduction. I still have the old message. So I'm going to do part 2. You know, that we reject the truth because we don't like the source. I will do part 2 tomorrow. But before I do part 2, let's hear what people have to say about this. Who will take the hot seat? Who will take the hot seat? You take the hot seat. Start with you.
Hello, guys. You know, when my religious and so self-righteous self, when I first heard this title, I was thinking that, wow, this is a title that is actually going to favor me in the sense that when I tell the truth, that nobody listens, and because maybe they don't like me or they feel like, okay, what does she know? So my mind was thinking, okay, this is what this is about. Dr. Sunday is going to say you don't listen to certain people. But I wasn't thinking in this angle. And this angle is actually pointing at me being this way exactly, which is exactly how I am. But we choose the truth that the people that we want to accept truth from. The source. And with people as well, you know, we choose. Most of my lecture, when I was in school, most of my lecturers, There were Muslim, atheists, Hindus, and I was a Christian then as well. And there's certain things that I would say, oh, I'm not going to study this, even though I was doing psychology. You know, I'm not going to really go deep into this. I'm just going to study this just to pass the exam, but I don't really believe it. I just do it. But, you know, ignoring everything and blanking my mind against it. It's just standing here and Dr. Sunday using examples and talking to us, and what we choose is like, that's every time I think I'm delivered already, that I'm okay, that I'm like, I'm developing myself, I'm like, okay, go back to ground zero, because I'm exactly like this. I'm somebody that, you know, I take my truth from the sources that I like, the sources that I respect, especially. You know, if I feel like, you know, I don't like you, or you've done something, especially if you've done something and you've, that thing I think is really bad, and yes, maybe it is really bad. Anything else you come back with later, it's like it's null and void in my eyes. And this is like a really big lesson, because I am losing a lot from this. You know, I'm losing even friends, I'm losing relationships from this mentality where, you know, I think this person is like this. Even friends that are not Christians, if they talk in the past, I just don't listen to them. I'm thinking, what do you know? What are you trying to say? You don't know anything. And seriously, we're losing a lot, you know, and it's such a shame. And the way Dr. Sunday just dissected everything just now, I wouldn't even believe that I'll be in this category, in this hot seat, in this hot seat right now, saying what I'm saying. Even an hour ago, if you remember, I was closing the last program saying that, oh, this one I'm really looking forward to hear it, because people don't listen to the truth because of the source, because they don't like you. That's all I was thinking, not knowing that I am actually those people. Oh my God, I'm actually the person. So it's really food for thought for me. I'm going to have to start over again, and, you know, losing relationship, losing friends, not accepting sources. And for me, especially, if somebody did something to me wrongs, you know, that is wrong, and I think it's big wrong, that this person is bad, I just kind of write them off, shut them down. Like,
we say this person is bad. What does that mean, this person is bad? The person must have acted badly, but to say somebody is totally bad, it's not possible. He cannot be bad, because God is in him. He carries the nature of God. There is no way someone can just be bad. Maybe he has done something evil, something bad, but there will be some good in him too.
Yes, unfortunately.
Well, so just say somebody is bad, just cancel it.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's just religiosity as well, because, you know, when somebody is bad, it's like, oh, just God revealed the kind of person that you are to me, you know, and then you just use God as well to justify your own bad behavior, your own shortcomings, by saying, okay, because that person did something that is terrible. Yes, it is terrible. You take it as God revealing the person to you. So for that reason, you're not going to have anything to do with that person anymore, just because of that one time that they did something that is not right. So I'm just going to really need to rewire my brain, because I can't believe this. I thought I've heard everything.
You are going to be helped by a book I have that will come out soon. Okay. It's called The Law of Difference. Okay. The Law of Difference will really help in this. It's like saying, you know, to be able to look at people with difference. You know, they might be different. They might even be bad in some things, so that they know that they are not totally bad in all things. There might be some things that they are doing right, even though they are doing some other things wrong. So we might be able to see all sides of people and be able to appreciate people for who they are, and be able to acknowledge their wrongdoing, but also have the capacity to be able to also acknowledge their right doing. That they cannot just be doing wrong only. Even somebody that is in prison, or that is a murderer, do you know that they have relatives or mothers or wives or something who think they are good in some area?
Yes.
So
yes. And also, this has actually made me think, because all the time when anything negative happens, or if I'm being prejudiced, I always think of being the victim. I never thought of me being the person.
The
yes, I never think of that, and that's how life is. Sometimes you are also bad to somebody else.
People, yeah.
You're also yes, and sometimes I am actually bad, because I'm not a saint at all. So why do I expect them to accept another word that I say in the future, even though I know that I've been bad at some point? I know myself. I can't kid myself. I know that I haven't been good all the time. The times that I have been very bad, and I know without even people telling me. And even when they don't tell me, my conscience tells me. So did I expect them to write me off forever? No, I don't. But I do it. So this is really like repentance time. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna go.
Okay, who is the next person who wants to be on the hot seat again? Who is the next one on the hot seat?
I thought I wasn't coming today, so I could not contain myself there. My goodness.
Some truth has been revealed.
This is brain. I don't know.
Brain scattering.
Brain crochet. Seriously, you know, I don't know where he gets this knowledge and wisdom from. You know, it's just like, oh boy, it's just like we don't really know what the truth is, right? We thought you knew it all. That is when they tell you where is it written in the Bible. Now you have an answer to give. You know, you drive that Japanese car. Your MacBook, who made it? Even your wig, who made it? I even heard the wigs are made in some
Chinese.
No, not even Chinese. In some shrine.
Buddhist shrine.
Yeah, Buddhist shrine. They kill the lies. Oh my goodness. So
and you are not doing deliverance on your head.
We want to look good now. So now we know where the truth is, and we don't have to, you know, they say throw away the water together with the baby together with the water. If it's the truth, we have to accept it. It's not a must that we agree with the person, but if it's the truth, whether we accept it or whether we don't accept it, that's what we rule. So Christians, me in particular, we have to shift our mindsets. Yeah, I know that all your brain is like, oh my goodness, where did he get this from? And some will still quote, where is it written? Where is it written in the Bible? My goodness. So I've just been in the kitchen. I was thinking I'm going to work, but I wasn't working. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm just too emotional now, but the truth is just too heavy tonight, you know. The deeper we go, the heavier it becomes. You know, I've never heard it this way. The way he brought out the points and proofs, you can't deny it because it's the truth. The truth can come from anywhere. If he talked through the donkey, he can even talk through, I don't know, the ant, if he has even done it in the Bible. So, we have no excuse but to agree with the truth and recognize the truth we see, even in a Muslim, even in an atheist. So when all these pastors come and tell you, oh, that quote is from an atheist, now you know the answer. And you too will know, the kind of things you follow. As long as it's the truth, atheist or not atheist, it stands forever. So let's shift our mind. If he could talk to the donkey, he can talk to anybody he created, no matter what he believes in. So I've been so blessed tonight. I'm telling you, I've just been in the kitchen just shouting. And I have to sneak in. Thank you so much, DSA. Thank you. I still have to listen again, Sha, and get some.
Okay, any other person want to comment? Queen Anastasia is here to comment and share. She was one of the illustrations.
Hello again.
Let's move you forward.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to confess some of the things I've done as a mother. As a mother. So I go shopping when my children obviously were younger. I go shopping for them and I see products that says like Rebel or Misguided or you know those kind of products. I'm like, in the name of Jesus, no, not for my children. In the name of Jesus, no. I've had people give me stuff, shoes, and it has this kind of supposedly demonic this thing, and I've thrown them away. What hypocrisy!
Wow. No.
Yes. It's confession time.
No, it's not possible.
It is possible. It's possible. I've thrown them away. Shoes. You know, and then maybe going perfume shopping and they have this, these weird names again.
No, even if it has something you don't like, why don't you just cast out the demon? If it is demon, Why throw it away? So it means the demon is not powerful. You couldn't overcome it, so you have to throw it away.
Yes.
So why should you throw it away if you are a Christian, you are superior? Use your superior power to remove the demon now.
No. And then, you know, what really comes to my mind, obviously, the hypocrisy. And I'm sorry, ladies, I'm coming at us, so I'm talking all of us. You know the weave extensions we put in our hair. We have been wearing this for probably, I don't know, is it 20 years now? Hair extensions. Now, I watched a video where the hair extensions, they are, you know, they bring all these, what do you call them?
Weavers.
What do you call those?
Extensions.
The people, so they bring all these people into this demon called environment, and then they shave them, and then they dedicate the hair to the gods. But meanwhile, guess who is wearing the hair? We, the Christians. We're wearing all these extensions which have been dedicated to the gods. So how come we are not casting out the demons that are on our hair?
Yeah.
You know. So honestly, I'm looking at myself as the most what do you call them? Hypocrite, yeah. And now, from this teaching, I'm going to open my mind and receive all the help that I need. I realize that, you know, I'm not open my mind, but what really is looking at in the face of my children, when I go shopping for them and I say, oh, rebel, oh, misguided, and I'll be like, no, you children, you're not wearing that. Even if you want to, sorry, because you're going to be wearing demons. Yeah. So thank you. Yes, the skull. Yes.
The skull?
Yes, this is the sign of the skull in a t-shirt.
Yes.
You can wear it.
And with this board like this, it's like that.
Yeah, it's like that.
Move closer.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I love this teaching. I really love this teaching. I think probably because right now I'm reading the book The Danger of Monoculturalism of Dr. Sunday. And I would
say a few things about that. What is the correlation between this book and the danger of monoculturalism? Because in that book too, you will see a few of these ideas there.
Yeah.
If you have not read the book, The Danger of Monoculturalism, you are missing out.
Absolutely. You're totally missing out. I mean, this book, I feel like this teaching right now has been somehow, could be a preface, you could say, to the book, because the book also gives you the how-to. The book goes into more detail on explaining how to deal with that bias that you may have, that prejudice that you may have, and it really breaks everything down in such detail. I mean, my mind is just, you know, every time I read it, I feel like, wow, we have really, I feel like we are walking around blind. We are walking around being blinded, and we are not even aware of it, you know, and we justify ourselves in so many things, but we don't even analyze those justifications. And we really have to go back to understanding, where do these biases come from? And are they grounded? Can they be verified? Is there any truth behind all of those? So for me, this book has been opening my mind up to human beings, you know, realizing that there's no excuse or there's no justification you could have to not treat your neighbor just as yourself. You know, just like it is written in the Bible. Yeah, there's really no reason you could ever come up with. Everything is being debunked. You know,
this is the book here. I don't know. It doesn't show very well.
Yeah.
This is Alexander's work. I think I've got to show it from the other side.
Yeah. It has to go.
I have to go this way?
This way, yeah. More?
More?
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, so this is the book, The Danger of Monoculturalism. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. I mean, it's just, I can't speak more.
Your eyes are glowing. When you're talking about this book.
It is so good. I mean, it is so deep. Really,
The 3D was done by, this 3D was done by Adeola. She's supposed to arrive today with her family.
She's there, actually.
Oh! Surprise!
Yeah, so I would really urge you to buy this book. Get this book as soon as possible, because we need to know how to deal with people. We need to understand people more. You know, even talking about terrorists, even talking about people who do you harm, people who have hurt you in a very significant way. Because Pastor talks about the slave trade, he talks about the gypsies, he talks about, you know, he talks about homosexuals, he talks about everyone who's been deprived. Yeah, in that book. He talks about everyone who's somehow been deprived of their right of just being a human, you know? And for some reason, so many different reasons that we come up with, we make all these biases that separate us from people, that, you know, make us...
That are made in the image of God.
Exactly. They're all made in the image of God. And we come up with theories, even, you know, Darwinism, all sorts of things that we learn in school make us, cause bias in us. And we don't even realize it. And one day we start walking around and we say, oh, this person with a hijab, and this is probably someone who's, you know, we come up with all these stereotypes and all these biases. So this is such a liberation. I mean, if there's anything I would tell you to do tonight, is to get this book. Please get this book. And you will get all the how-tos, all the tools, and what it means, you know, on how to...
Don't that there was in the book. I remember that every day we are going to church this week, or coming back from church, I see Julie cannot be separated from the book. She's always reading the book, the electronic book, the Kindle. She has a Kindle reader, and she's always reading. And I'm saying, "What? You are reading this as if you are in love with this book?" And she said, "Yes, it's so sweet reading it. It's like I'm eating ice cream."
Yeah, like I'm eating candy. I said, I feel like going back to the beginning just to start again.
Yes, because she said, "I'm afraid when it will finish. I don't want it to finish." I'm afraid that the book will finish.
Yeah.
I don't want it to finish. I want to call you up going back so that it will not finish.
Yes.
But there is another book you will read like that, The Law of Difference. The Law of Difference will even captivate you even the more. It will even be much more powerful. It's a book that you would not like to finish, just like this one, but much more stronger than this one. But this one is out already. It's revolutionary. It will just make you human. This book will make you human, right?
Yeah.
Monoculturalism.
Absolutely.
Write the proper name. The Danger of Monoculturalism.
Yeah.
And it's in line with this message of today, right?
Yes, it's so in line with the message. It's like, I don't know, you can say an intro or icing on the cake, I don't know, but it is
a prelude.
Yeah, a prelude. It is so on point, really, because like Queen Nikki said, there's nothing you can say against it. There's nothing you can say against the truth. And it really makes us understand people more, you know, because just like anyone, there's good, and we do bad things, but there's also good in us because we're all made in God's image. So if there's one truth that we could live by, it is this truth. We are all made in God's image. No matter, you know, what we've learned, no matter what we've done, no matter what people say against us. And I was thinking about myself as well, trying to analyze, okay, in what situation did I cancel out the truth because of the source that it came from? I usually like to read different things, and I'm totally fine with, especially when it comes to generalizations and people and news and everything. But then I thought about my immediate surrounding and environment and the place that I grew up in. And especially if you've suffered some things in life, you know, you grew up, your childhood was a little bit tough, or I don't know what you went through. We can easily say, no, I'm going to shut down this person, or I'm not going to talk to them because of all the things that they have done to me. And I have these people in my life. I have these people in my heart where I'm thinking, just, you know, even if I listen to them, I would actually shut my ears, you know, I would pretend as if I'm listening, even though I'm not. So I think really we should take this message and do a self-analysis, but most importantly, get the book. I cannot emphasize this enough. Get this book, because it will
Mention the name of the book.
get the book, The Danger of Monoculturalism. This is, because if we don't distinguish between the source and the truth, we just end up putting ourselves above people. You know, what we do in this case is we say that we are better than them. We don't hear, we're superior. We don't need to hear them. what do they want to teach us? And we
What
don't.
can they teach us?
What can they teach us exactly? So, and nobody can live that way. We all have to learn. Every day is the learning opportunity for us. So nobody's gonna ever finish learning. So how we can't choose the ways through which God speaks to us. So let's just be open enough to receive if we have the opportunity, because not everyone has the opportunity to receive truth. So if you have the opportunity, why reject it? You know, so there's no excuse. Please get the book, The Danger of Monoculturalism.
You know, in my country, you know, that book, The Danger of Monoculturalism, can solve all the problems of Nigeria, Muslim and Christians. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree.
You know the way the Christians look at for example, right now, we just had a very horrible incident. I read about it today, when some people went into a church and shot people dead. People were in the church, Catholic Church in Anambra State, in your state. That's your state? That's in Queen Nkiru State. So this gunman went in there and killed all the people. It's a small church, but mainly family. One family. Just shot dead all the family members there, like maybe 20 people or 10 people. Just killed all of them in gun and drove away. So the police did investigation. No, before they did investigation, you know what all the, you know, because of everybody wants to blame Hausas and the Fulanis for everything. So before the investigation was done, they started saying, these are the Muslims again. They have come here to kill us. They came to our village to kill us in Anambra State. See, we have to go out of Nigeria. This is the confirmation that Nigeria has to be broken. No, we don't belong here. They don't just kill us in the north anymore. They are killing us here now. You know, prejudice, lies have taken over people's lives. So then they set up investigations and detectives, and they went and did investigation. Well, it happens that in that community, their sons, a lot of their sons are living abroad in South Africa, but they are all dealing in drugs. So these two families that they cheated on each other with the drugs overseas, and they sent, they ran away back home to Nigeria. They were in the church. Then the other family that had been robbed of the drug profit or whatever, decided to retaliate. So they came by and killed this other family in the church, and to reject them and run away. So, but when the explanation was given, and the governor came and said, no, this is an isolated case. Don't say the Muslims have started to kill us, and the election will not hold, or things, the Muslims and the Buhari and what they call it, headsmen are the ones who have killed us again. So they said, no, we have investigated, and the truth is, our people killed our people, and it's because of drug war. And you know what the Christians are saying? Okay, we know now that Obiona, or whatever the name of the governor is, this Obiona governor, or Obiona, or whatever I call it, is it Abiona? Okay, the name of the governor has now been bribed by and it doesn't even belong to the Buhari party. He is APG, something, PGA, or something like that. Abga. So he belongs to another party, and then he said the police, of course, the police, what would they say? They would not say the Muslims are to blame, of course. So that is our monoculturalism. Anything bad has to be from the Muslims. Anything the Muslims do has to be bad. For example, in Nigeria recently, we had the Ministry of Education introduced another curriculum. And the curriculum was that there will be no more religious studies. No religious studies, no Christian studies, and no Muslim studies. But there will be just another subject they call social studies. So under that social studies, there will be social service, and Muslim and Islamic and Christian as one subject. And then if you want to study foreign languages, you can study apart from English, French, and Arabic. Our prejudice, the prejudice of Christians, the bishops and the big men in Nigeria started saying they want to Islamize Nigeria. They want to Islamize Nigeria. So what happened? Oh, they have removed Christian religious studies. And they have said instead of that, you must study Islamic religious studies. Without facts and details. So when they started going into facts, they said, he said, no, they said all our children must study Islamic studies. They made it compulsory. The Ministry of Education, no, we are not going to study Islamic. We are not going to do Islamic studies. And I saw that even some of our people here were posting the article, and they were saying, oh, they will not Islamize Nigeria. We don't want them to Islamize Nigeria. That is what the danger of monoculturalism could do. So we have a culture. The Christian culture in Nigeria is a monoculture atmosphere. And that monoculture atmosphere is bringing so much evil. We think that the Muslims are to blame for everything, but we are to blame. Our mentality, the monoculturalism of our mind is making us to be biased so much that we are the reason for all the pain, for all the problem that we are saying. So when they now went to the parliament and to raise the question, it happened that it was not Buhari government that passed the change and the law. It was the Jonathan himself who signed it. The Christian president was the one who signed that change before he left. Only they have to implement it. You know, you have to be continuous. Yeah. So he was the Christian who signed it, and they thought it was the Muslim. So now they discovered that it was the Christian president who signed it. Everybody became quiet now. Why have they become quiet? Because they were saying it was Buhari, the Muslim president, who wanted to Islamize Nigeria. But it was the Christian president that signed it. Everybody that is quiet. Because they removed both Christian religious and Muslim religion. They removed the two. Only they added Islamic studies as a language in French Islamic. But you can choose. You don't have to choose Islamic. But they included Islamic because we have a lot of Muslims who might want to learn the language. And they put French because French, apart from English, is the most popular language. So prejudice, that's what you are reading about in that book, isn't it?
Yes.
How could that book help us in that sense, in this religious kind of thing I just told, the story I just told you?
I think...
Because it tells a lot of stories like that, isn't it?
Yes, a lot of stories. Oh my God, this book is loaded. I mean, you know, I think this book can really help us to find freedom. No matter what we believe in, no matter where we come from, this book is really helping us.
What did you tell me? You told me that even that book, you would like all Germans to read it.
Yes, yes.
Even Germans are doing well, they are trying, but you said all of them must read that book.
Yeah.
All Americans must read it. People said, Pastor Sunday, you will die, but that book will never die. The whole world will always read that book.
Because the book reminded me of the fact that we can learn so much, you know, if we are united. We can learn so much from each other if we put off those glasses of prejudice. Because they make us blind. You know, they don't make us see clearer. They actually make us blind. These are glasses that make us blind. We have to. We don't see it because we grew up with these prejudices. There are things that are very subtle that we don't even consider as prejudices, and we say that we use them just to be able to understand the world better, just to be able to, you know, make sense of everything. But really, we actually don't. Actually, I think the only thing we should go by is this person made in God's image or not, you know? And that's, this book, to me, is telling me to go by the image of God. And everyone that you look at, no matter what they're saying, first of all, they're made in the image of God. So there's no reason why you may shut them down, because we all have the opportunity to change. We all have the opportunity to grow, and you know, we all make mistakes. So we can learn from that. Keeping that in mind helps us to realize that all that we need to go by is truth. We all need to go by the truth only, because you never know who this person is going to be next time. There's something that Pastor was talking about this week in church, and he was saying that there used to be the richest man in Nigeria, and he was wearing like this long coat with a super long train, and he used to have a slave who was carrying the end of the train because he didn't want it to be dirty and touch the floor. But when this rich man died one day, actually his children now ended up serving the slave's children, you know? So you never know where you will end up. But even if it's not about you, what about your children? What about your children's children? What about the next generations to come? You know, you don't want people to suffer, other people to suffer, just because you were living by bias or denied the truth because you didn't like the nose of someone, you didn't like the way their skin was, you didn't like where they came from or the language that they spoke. You know, there's so much that we can use as prejudices. Even if it's the accent. Some people say, oh, I don't want to listen to this person because I don't like the accent of that person. Really, but what if the person says the truth? You know, so we deprive ourselves from so much wealth, so much treasure, just because of small prejudices, small biases, because we shut people down based on little things, really. So if we really want to know how to live peacefully in this world with each other, I suggest we should all learn what is written in this book. The principles written in that book will help us to understand ourselves better, walk in a more conscious way through life, and also understand other people, no matter what they do, even if they do wrong things. You will learn, this book will help you to analyze those wrongdoings instead of reacting based on, you know, the severity of the issue. So
remind them the name of the book again.
Yeah, so again, the book is called The Danger of Monoculturalism. It is very, very dangerous. And if you read the book, you will learn why. I mean, look at all the atrocities that happen in the world. Actually, if you consider everything in a very meticulous way, it all happened because there was because of prejudice, because there was this desire of monoculturalism by one race or group of people or the other. So that's a hard truth. It's a really hard pill to swallow. But I think if we take that book seriously, it will help us not to repeat our past mistakes, and we can really, really make this world a better place. And it's actually not that difficult, really. It's not that difficult. And this is what the book has shown me. So, yeah, thank you.
I know that person wants to talk. Do you want us to show them the photograph of the Nigerian richest man in Nigeria? Yes. And this guy used to travel to overseas and dress like that. And, you know, he used to... The guy is a tough guy. You never know. If there is any other person who wants to talk, maybe we could still give somebody a chance. You want to show us? Yeah, that's it. So tell the story again.
Yeah, so there was this man. He used to be
the rich guy.
Yes, the rich guy, the richest in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And he just
I think he's from Anambra also from.
And he apparently had so much money, and he liked these type of clothing. And he said he didn't want the clothing to get dirty, so he bought slaves to carry this train, so that it won't get exactly around their necks, even, you know, not even on their hands or anything, but around the neck.
And then you see in the back of the slave, the remaining cloth is flowing at the back of the slave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here at the back. Oh my God! Wow. So this is how long this thing is. I'm just seeing this now. Wow. And this guy, you know, you see the prejudice here alone. I mean, look at how he
far from him, man. He cannot even stand beside him.
Exactly. He's far away. He's wearing it on his neck. He's not considered human.
Human, like an animal.
It's exactly like just an animal, just something who's carrying his clothes. I mean, his clothes compared to the person is like worth even, you know,
Nothing.
exactly. So the descendants of this slave later on, when he died, ended up being above his children. So his children basically started serving them, selling them food.
All the properties of the man was bought by the children of this.
Yes, and all the properties were bought by the children
Of
this
this slave.
slave. You know, it's something you would obviously you can never see how things change in life. So there's really no reason why we have to treat other people like that. So, and also one thing that was written in the book is that, you know, what also comes around goes around. You know, there's a life cycle that we live in, and everything that there is like a boomerang effect. The world that we live in is like a boomerang effect. So everything, the first will be the last, and the last will be the first, and everything. We all are aware of this, especially as Christians. So at the end of the day, if we treat people badly, if we are biased towards people, it will come back to us one way or the other. The truth will come back and, you know, will reveal itself, and then other people will have to pay for it. So
People
I
are
think that's a
asking,
really great lesson.
People are asking me, what is the name of the guy? Let me tell you the name of the guy. Let me give you his history lesson. And that people from Nigeria are asking what's his name. So people from my country don't even know this story. Oh. We are from Nigeria, but we don't know the story. His name is Festus Okoti Ebo. Festus Okoti Ebo. He is no, he's not Anambra. Yeah. He's from Delta State. Warri. He's from Warri, Delta State, Nigeria. So he used to be the richest Nigerian. He used to be the richest Nigerian, and he used to be the Minister of Finance. He used to be the Minister of Finance of Nigeria. He's Ishekiri. Is it Ishekiri they call them? He's an Ishekiri man. And he used to be the first Minister of Finance in Nigeria. He used to be the richest person in Nigeria. And the first Minister of Finance. And yeah. So he used to be very, very rich. He controlled everything. He controlled the whole country. But he died a violent death. Yeah, but they killed him because when the soldiers came, there was overthrow of, they call it coup d'etat. Yeah, so when the coup came, he was one of the first ones they looked for. They got rid of him very fast. They shot him. He died like a dog, like an animal. Because people hated that kind of lifestyle, what he was doing. People hated him because he was oppressing another human being. So he died a violent death. So Festus, yeah. Okoti, yeah. Yeah, so nobody wants to say anything anymore, but it's been a nice time. Go and get the book, The Danger of Monoculturalism. Julie has advertised that book that it's a sin not to get it now. So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back at 7 o'clock Cape time and 9 o'clock, which is 5 p.m. Nigerian time, 5 p.m. British time, 12 noon Eastern time in America. And we'll be back tomorrow. And then after that, we'll be back at 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 7 p.m. British time, and 2 p.m. Eastern time. So God bless you guys. Take care. Bye.